Hey guys, I wanted to recap a couple of trades that I took yesterday. I know I said I was going to have them done yesterday night, but I got caught up with a couple of things, so uh, I figured I would take the time to do it now. So the two that I wanted to recap were one that I took yesterday right around market open, and one that I closed out relatively quickly, and then another one that I took and held overnight and closed out this morning. So the first of which is the Aussie yen trade that I took, and I wanted to start on the 1 hour chart. So you can see that for the last little while the pair has been kind of stuck in this little range right here, and it's also, I guess it technically has a little range bottom too. It's not the cleanest range, but it's kind of, just bouncing back and forth. But what you'll notice is that on each one of those moves up or down, it's got a nice little trend one way or the other. And that was the same for when we were coming down here. And this was the trade that I took. So you can see that when it's moving up, it's trending. When it's moving down, it's trending. It's pretty much trending within this range, within this structure here. So none of that is super important with the exception of the trend to my trade yesterday. So price had, established a lower high here on the hourly, and it, was showing that it was moving down. So trend was down. That's where my focus was. So I took my trend line and I drew it, from this point here to its next highest peak, and then it had a nice little move down, and so I was sitting there waiting for a retracement. I was sitting waiting for my moment of entry. I got myself down to the 30-minute chart, and I took my Fibonacci tool, and I was looking for a retracement to right around this area. Now the other thing to keep in mind is that we also have some short-term support and resistance right there. So this is resistance. So we have some short-term resistance. And I mean, this was a super simple trade, right? I had the 78.6, I had my moving average, I had my trend line, and I had a little bit of resistance. I wouldn't call that anything major. It's on a 30-minute chart and it was blown right through. But it's additional confirmation. And so I grabbed a strike. I believe my entry time was 9:15, and I grabbed a strike of 76.92. So I was up here, 76.92, and I had my entry time of what was it? I had my entry time of 9:13. So I had 9:13 entry time. So if we get down to our 5 minutes, just to give you a general idea of where I got in, you had a couple of chances at this, which is my favorite type of trade. When that structure holds, that's a beautiful thing when it holds like that. But 9:13, I was right around this spike right here. So this green spike. Let's grab my, let's see, can I get back that far on the 1 minute? I can. Alright, so my entry time was 9:11, 12, 13. So it was right here, right on this candle where it started to make its move. I'll highlight that for you. Right there. That was my entry time. So if we go back out to the 15-minute, you can see just how simple of a trade that was and just how strong of a statement that was. Because look how well it held, right? So you had your moving average coming down, your 78.6 retracement protecting it, you had your trend line protecting it. So you just kept coming up and testing it three times to get in on that. And that statement, I mean, look how far away, even though it is a 15-minute chart, if you look at it on the 30, I mean, look how much distance you have and that, I think I paid 30 for it. So let's see. Yeah, it was a $30. I risked 30, so that was a decent profit there. $365 right off of that that quick little move. It doesn't get much better than that. Then the other one that I wanted to showcase was my Euro pounds trade. Okay, so on the daily, we were coming up to, it's not quite a head and shoulders because, you know, you have your resistance here, but it was around, you know, it had been topping out around this area. So what I did was I took my rectangle tool and I drew out my supply zone because you can see that's a super strong move off that level. And I pinned some additional resistance. So this is what I was looking at on the daily chart. And for me, you know, that's not enough. That's not, I mean, we have a little bit of divergence on the daily chart, but that's not enough for me to enter a trade. So I was looking at it on the 4-hour chart. I scroll out a little bit and I noticed that on its way up, price had been making a nice little channel. So if I take my trendline tool, got a nice little channel. You can see that it was respected again this morning. So now I have a supply zone. I have my trendline, my channel topper here, and one other thing that I did have in my favor that was a reason for entry was I had a Fibonacci completion. If I can find the correct markup for what I did have. I think it was starting here on this move. So we've got price make its move up to the channel top. So from, you know, just about channel bottom, but right kind of in the middle, we've got price makes its way, crosses over the EMAs and makes its way up to the channel top and then retraces back down, and it's a consolidated retracement. So it's not like with the exception of the initial move down, it's not super sharp, but it hits our 50% retracement perfectly. What I have been keeping my eye out for was that 61.8 and even that 23.6 were areas of interest because that 61.8 fell literally smack dab at channel top, as well as that resistance level right there. So for me, that was a trigger to entry. I got in 87.146 is where I shorted from. 87.146. So let's just get that on my let's just map that out. $87.146 will make it our strike color. Okay, so that was my entry. And once it broke down out of this supply zone, okay, so this is my entry. You have my reason for entry. Now let's talk a little bit about trade management. So initially, I had a stop loss just up here at this 87.32 was my stop loss level. So let's get rid of all of this stuff. We know why we entered. And what I didn't manage this trade entirely properly because I had it planned out. I knew it was coming down here, but I ended up getting out at this resistance level here, this 86.27. So I had 87.32 as my initial stop loss. And then once price started to move down, and show that it was coming off of that level pretty strongly, I left my 87.32 stop loss and I waited for it to find a bottom and to start spiking up. So I mapped out my fibs right here when I saw that on the hourly chart, when I saw price come way down and then show a lot of bulls. And I don't know, zoom in a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, but those are some strong wicks. So once I saw some bullish momentum, Then I mapped out my fibs, and I had this support level or this resistance level right here, and I had that 78.6 retracement. So I ended up moving my stop loss to trailing just above those two levels, and I'll change the color on this so you can see it too. It'll be orange. So, well, it's a little too close. Yellow. Okay, so my trailing stop is yellow. So once it made its way all the way down here, then I moved my trailing stop to just above those levels to protect myself. And then once I saw the reaction off of the 61.8, and I saw it, I saw this candle right here, I was comfortable moving my stop loss down to just above, I think it was 8,700, I think I had it at. So it was above, it was down just a little bit more. Now it was below the, that was below these levels, but it was still above the 61.8. And then I eventually took profit right around this this area right here. I should have held it to ride it all the way down, but I was close enough. I was happy with my profits. You can see that that was just around, I think I ended up with just around $1,200 off of that trade. So just a couple of simple structure trades. There's nothing, I don't have 17 indicators telling me when to enter. I don't have to have big volume studies down here telling me, volumes diverging, enter here. Volume always helps, but I mean, I'm a price action trader. I'm a structure trader. So for me, these are some perfect setups. So again, as always, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to cut it here. Have a good day, guys.